Here's a super simple tutorial on how to make wheels in Liver Speed Editor. So basically what you're going to want to do is find the wheels you're going to want to make. From the very beginning, you're going to want to know what wheel you're making so that you can build accordingly. So I made these Panasonic G7s, and so they're a 5-lug 5-spoke. As you can see here, they're kind of a mirror from this spoke to this lug. You basically want to copy everything in this section and then move it here, move it here, move it here. You want to just duplicate that 5 times pretty much, other than the center cap that I made. I had to make that separately. I've kind of set this up here to show you kind of the steps that I take when I'm making wheels for Liver Speed or for Reflux and stuff. So if I go here, we'll start at the beginning. So I'm going to go my front view. I've already loaded a background, right? So you can load your backgrounds down here. And I've found a kind of front view. It's not perfect, but you need, as good as you can get. And you're going to use a bunch of references, if you have another monitor or just whatever you can find online to kind of save and look at when you're modeling. But I've got this model here. So what I did is you're going to want to go to your points and stuff. You'll do a new point. And I like to start from the outside in. And this is a 5-spoke, 5-lug. So I'm trying to make this section, right? So you're going to have like a line that almost cuts through here. You're going to have a pie cut. You're going to make 5 sections of your pie. So we're making 1/5 of a pie, and then the rest of the pie obviously will just fill in perfectly. And so what I've done is I've done this or whatever, but you create your circle, right? You're in the front view, but you want to know how many points I need for my circle. This is a a 5-spoke, or I'm going to want 5 sections in my head. That's all I kind of know. You might run into problems if you had a 4-lug, right? 5-spoke 4-lug. You need to make the outer first and then model the inner on its own. I'm going to do this as my 5-spoke 5-lug. It got to be a multiple of 5. So I did 40 for my version. You can go higher, you can go lower. It's all depending on what resolution you want to use. But if I do 40, right, it's a multiple of 5. Then if I bring this in, right, we'll get it close. This is just for example. But you can kind of see if I build here now, I'll just build really, really quick. I'm going to duplicate these points, scale them up, and I'm going to build a big triangle. This will be my bounds, we'll call it. And I'll make it like bright red or something so I know where it is. And now I'll select these points. I'm going to move them back here. So when I'm making my wheel, I know exactly that now if I keep extruding and coming in on my scale, I'm following this line back down, right? So when I grab these points, right? So when I scale this in, you can see it just follows the line. So you can slowly build your wheel that way. Come in a bit, back, and then you just continue to come in. So something like that. You can see that this would be a lip, come down to a face, and then you'd have your face on there. So what you can do is then you would delete all this. Delete all this here. And I would grab this, duplicate it, and grab your center point. You can rotate it 72 because 360 divided by 5 is 72. So if I go 72, it would perfectly align there. And then I duplicate it again, 72 again. So you can see I have my 5 sections all add up to a perfect circle again. You get your wheel back. Once you finish modeling your wheel and everything, you basically want to get to a point that looks like this. So I'll move the background over. So to give you an idea, right, I've matched my lug nuts. I've done the scaling. I did the right along the spoke. I extrude everything, made my triangles, building your lip, right? Building down with my reference images and everything. I built my center cap, kind of the corner of it. cut out my lug. I did a circle and then I cut it in half and extruded it down and all that. So this is basically what it's going to look like. You have a section of the pie cut. So you only need to do half of your section, right? Because then once you do this half of your section, you go over here and you would mirror. So I would usually do, I'll mirror this, and then you can duplicate, and then right down your center line, right? As long as you have it on center line, you can go left to right swap, and then you'll have two sides that are fully modeled. So then you have your section. So if I actually deleted this side and I did mirrored, when I duplicate now and I try to rotate this 72, the mirrored will try to flip all these triangles and stuff over to this side. So really you want to keep everything built, grab the whole thing. You can then duplicate, and you're doing a 5 lug, 5 spoke. So you're basically just following this line. You can see cut through here is your line. You got this one section that you're just going to duplicate over and over to get a full wheel in the end. So I'll duplicate him, and then instead of going, I'm going to go negative 72. So I come back this way, and in the end, you have a final product. So then this is your wheel that gets mirrored all the way around. I'm going to merge by distance just so I get all the edges. So now everything's clean, right? There's no lines. So you'll see your section lines coming through the wheel. So once you merge everything, then you can merge the wheel, and you can do so these right here, my bolts and stuff like that was after. Again, you do the same sort of technique. Is I didn't want to do, if I kept the bolt as part of my slice section, you can see that I'm losing spaces, right? And I wanted it to be where one bolt was up here at the top. So I could have done that. I could have put half a bolt there, and then that would have been here, right? Because it gets multiplied, so you get the other half, and it all comes around. But I really want to have a set amount of bolts, because originally, if you can see on my reference image, it has a lot of bolts. But with the size here, I was getting close to the limit, right? I'm at 4,046. I want to save room for the valve stem, and if I want to add more into the center cap and all that. So I spaced them out a little differently and then did them after. But the same idea would apply, is you would have your bolts, right? And if I deleted them all except this one, you could make one and then just duplicate, do your front view, rotate, and now depending on 360 divided by, if I wanted 4 of them, be 90. I'll say 90. You get 90, 90. Take my bolts again, duplicate them, and I'm going to rotate them by 180, so they go here and here. So now I have 4 bolts perfectly even from each other along the wheel. Same thing again. You grab them again, duplicate them again, and I might go 45. So they're even between the 90. So you can see basically how I went about making an even set of bolts for the wheel. You're just making one, duplicating, and using rotational from the center to make them even, using just a bit of math, just dividing by 360. Yeah, it's a pretty easy way to make wheels. Start with your image, start building your wheel. Use your scale here to know where you need to stay in bounds. So you do that, duplicate that left and right. So then what you can do is you can delete this, so you can see where you need to build and still stay in your bounds. You're basically building a like a stencil. We'll just pretend that this is all built up. I duplicate this point, right? And I'm gonna scale it down because I want this to be my lip. Bring this up, and that's it. So all you gotta do is get to half. So then after this, that we'd say, okay, the wheel's done. You would just delete the rest, make a square here, and I'll just grab this. So you have this section, press A. You can duplicate all this, go left to right, Control F, you can flip it. And I like to merge by distance. You delete unused, you have your section here made, duplicate, 72. You can keep going around 72, so I'm just going quick. Negative 72 to go back. And so there you go. There's your idea. So you can make your center cap sticks out, so that's a perfect circle. You have your wheel built, so it's a really easy way to quickly make a wheel is just rotational. Just build one half section, mirror that section, and then multiply that section by the desired amount from whatever your whatever wheel you're trying to replicate. So yeah, so hopefully that's straightforward. Any other questions and stuff, you just leave in the comments and I'll answer them. So